right. Welcome. It is Monday. We're getting your week off the right foot. You guessed it. It's the big game hunters. Jason Berard, Landon Hood. We're excited. The question today that we are answering is, why should we hire you?
What's so good about you? Why should
What's
we hire
so good
you?
about you, man?
What do you bring to the table?
What do you bring? What can you do for me, candidate? And we're going to do this one on the sales edition, right?
Yes,
So this is going to be a new feature that we do. Why should we hire you? We're going to do it on all different types of positions. We're going to start with sales. It's a question that is asked. So it's basically, what makes a great sales candidate, Landon?
There's some criteria. I mean, if you're working with, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Sales guys need to have that hunger, that drive, that competitive spirit that basically, sort of is synonymous with sales. You need to be able to go out there and take ownership of your, of your goals, what you've done in your career. Being able to basically say, you know what, this piece, this product, this service that I'm dealing with right now, this is my baby. I am going to build a business based off of what I'm doing. The executive team has their goals, and absolutely my goals are aligned with theirs, but I think it's that independent hunger, that drive, somebody who's a hunter. I think that's really the number one important
I think even
thing.
if it's like a farmer type role, like we're talking like account management, I still think you want a hunter because they have that drive that's going to take them to the next level, right? I think, going back towards the structure of when people interview you and they ask that dreadful question, why should we hire you? And I think sales is a bit of a different answer than, for example, a programmer would be. But at the end of the day, you are selling yourself. But I think back to an actual sales candidate, what makes a great sales candidate to start is industry experience that's relative to the company hiring, right? So if I need you to sell scaffolding experience or scaffolding, I'm probably going to need you to have sold scaffolding in the past. Yeah,
if you're selling a reciprocating compressor, it's not something you can just read about on the internet and go in and sell. That's a long process. Oftentimes you're in a sales process that's 2 years.
Yeah.
And so you need to have that knowledge. You'll see sometimes clients wanting an engineering degree, and that's because you're going out there and you're interacting directly with those engineers. So being somebody who's understands the product and is comfortable selling the product to who needs to be sold to, and oftentimes that's the guys who are underground. That's the guys with dirt on their hands. That's the guys who understand if it's software, shaking hands with dirt on their hands. Hands does rhyme with hands, it's true. And just being able to get in the trenches and understanding, the technical stuff and being comfortable dealing with technical guys, because they might drill you. They don't want some smiling sales guy who's just going to, who you saw, Wolf of Wall Street and all of a sudden is going to try to sell you this compressor. Yeah. They want somebody who knows what the heck they're talking about. Yeah,
and I think the big thing that he touched on there is with the relative industry experience, I think if you wanted to get into something like, for example, if you wanted to get into scaffolding sales, you've never sold it before, well, probably your chance then would be that you've sold something similar to similar clients, right? Like employers will look for, well, have you sold to who we sell to? Because if you have and you can prove to me that you've closed deals with them, then I'm going to trust you to go out and sell what we have to sell. And I think sales, especially outside sales reps, are such an important aspect of your business because they are the face of your company out in the market. And if you have someone that's incompetent that you bring on, it's going to cost your company tenfold.
Absolutely.
Like making a bad hire is costly as is, but if you make a bad hire in sales,
you don't want somebody out there representing your brand who's going out there calling clients and basically making fools out of you. Who is this guy? What company did he work for? Who are they hiring? That's a bad sign. And so if you're a sales guy, obviously you put your best foot forward, you act professionally, you understand your product line, you get that experience, and leverage those relationships, because then that's a huge thing. You get your non-competes in certain industries, but if you never know how things are going to go, and you want to make sure that your clients are your clients and the company's clients as well. But you want to make sure that you have those strong relationships, because if you ever move on, you're going to want to have to leverage those relationships. You're going to want to be able to say, I have this great book of business. I have these guys who I can talk to. Use them as references. Use your clients as references. You see that all the time. Oh, I love Jimmy. Jimmy, that guy you called me on Sundays. Me and my wives go to bocce ball together.
And you know what makes a great sales candidate when you're looking at their profile? This is for employers and just for candidates as a whole, is you really don't want a hopper in sales.
No.
Because the chances are, if it's been like a 6-month stint and a 9-month stint and like a year and 1 month stint, they started selling the product and for whatever reason it didn't work out, or they're just shopping for better compensation packages.
Either one is, you want somebody who's loyal, somebody who's, maybe if they're not happy, they'll talk to their hiring manager, their sales manager, and say, this is what I need, instead of just always looking for the new opportunity. And that is one of the most inherent risks in hiring sales guys is, sometimes there's just sales guys.
They'll sell you.
They'll sell you and
hiring them.
Hire me. And then they're just looking for the next best thing. And so you want somebody who, will understand loyalty, understand that, exactly align their goals with the executive level team. And at the same time, you want somebody who,
I think you need someone that will communicate that passion too about the product, because when you're interviewing someone who's sales oriented. So whenever I interview someone that's in the sales business, where I really get my ears perked up is, well, first of all, the first thing that I notice is the enthusiasm over the phone, enthusiasm in person, whatever it may be. Someone who's passionate about what they've done, somebody who's extremely confident in what they've done and what they can do. They don't even care what they've done. It's about what they can do. And someone that's very, very proven. And that means that someone who can say, I have sold here and this is what I sold and this is who I sold to. And I'd be happy to provide you a reference because they've done such a great job.
Yeah. And they get you excited. Somebody who can get there, you like, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If somebody can get you excited about what they're talking about, could be aggregates, could be anything. That's a huge critical thing. So if you bring somebody in for an interview and they're getting you excited, that's a huge plus.
And I think I know that one episode we talked about how they don't really teach sales in schools. I think if you find someone a bit on the younger side and they haven't sold anything related, but they have that attitude, that's the person that you swing the bat on and take the risk, because if they really are communicating passion about selling your product, they've never done it before, and you think that you can bring them in and mold them to you, they'll stick with you. If you believe in someone, they will stick to you, they'll be loyal to you, as long as you can provide them the growth, right? So a great sales candidate is someone who can also communicate everything very effectively, because ultimately they're going to have to communicate your product. They're going to have to sell your product.
Exactly.
Right?
Well-spoken, and not just well-spoken. Sometimes email communication is critical depending on the industry you're in. Somebody who can type, if there's a lot of typos in the person's resume, that's never a good sign in any industry.
Yeah.
And, again, if you see somebody job hopping, that could be a sign, maybe not just a lack of loyalty, but a sign that they're just not cutting it. They're not performing. Yeah. And so that's why if you're interviewing a salesperson and they come in, first of all, they're taking ownership. I was responsible for this. I drove this business. And second of all, they can point to the positive impact they've had. I grew the business from X to X. That's critical. And so as a salesperson, you want to take a look at what you're doing. Always measure your results. Of course you are, because you're measuring your commissions as well, but always make sure to take note of those big accomplishments. And, those things you can point to your management team and say, hey, look at what I did. This is, if you're not happy, look at, maybe you can increase my commissions, or maybe tell me how I can get to here, because I'm here right now. Tell me I can get how to here. Executives, you love hearing that. You love hearing one of your employees who wants to know how they can, break through the glass ceiling.
And throughout the interview process, a really amazing sales candidate, what they're doing is they're collecting their own data. And then when that final question comes, why should we hire you? That's when they go, well, based on everything that you've told me, there's a problem in your organization because you need someone that can do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And at company here, I did X. And I've done Y throughout my entire career. And Z might be the one thing that I might be lacking on, but because of my personality, because I'm so passionate to learn about your industry and sell what you're selling and be a part of your vision, I'm confident that we can pick up on Z. So based on your problem, I am the solution. And then you go once more time into your value proposition. Here's why. And I think the best sales candidates will ask for the offer before they leave that room, because those are the true closers. They're going to say, well, do you want to offer me the job?
Yeah.
And don't even say, well, do you want to offer me the job or what? Don't even leave that. Do you want to offer me this job? And then the client goes,
I mean, we've got other candidates to speak with, but I mean, with those baby blues, I can't say no to you.
No, exactly. Say, okay, we'll check references. And then what does that leave in the impression? Well, the person's bold. The person's willing to do what others aren't. And that's exactly what you want in an amazing sales candidate.
Persistence as well. Follow up. I mean, you don't want to go overboard, but I mean, if you had the interview a few days later or later that day, send the email thanking them, follow up, make, hey, what's the status? I'm excited. You've got to find the healthy balance between somebody who's desperation and persistence.
Yeah.
But definitely follow up with, express your excitement, and then after, going into the interview, of course, come in with solutions, as Jason said, but even afterwards say, I was identifying this, I've been looking at you guys, I've been seeing some news about your company, and here are some things I think can really add to,
where he's going with this is, here's a 30, 60, 90-day plan of what I plan to do when I join your organization. The first 30 days, I'm going to learn about everything that you do. I'm going to learn about your customer inside and out. After that, I'm going to build the team like you need, and after that, we're going to get the process rock and rolling after 90 days. Have that plan. To summarize it all, if I can bring it all back into one, a great sales candidate is someone who's going to communicate. I think the best thing about, the number one thing about sales candidates is going to be the personality and the person behind it, the accomplishment second. And then third, you're going to find the industry experience.
Certainly, if you're dealing with technical positions, industry experience can be very, very critical.
I think last in sales is your academic. I really don't think the academic applies, especially if, you have someone who doesn't have a degree and has been selling like, or even as a sales manager, or director of sales, whatever it may be. I think you pick up skill sets like that on the field.
Sales, more than any other industry, you can really, or any other position, you really can leverage that experience against the degree. So, I mean, sometimes it takes 20 years. If you don't have your engineering degree and they want it, sometimes it takes 20 years to really be able to speak on and deal with clients that are engineers. But really, eventually, you should be able to get past that. So you're right. I think the lowest criteria would definitely be education.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And what you're looking for in a sales candidate is you're looking for someone who can come into your organization, have a little training, get them up and going, and get them producing immediately to the bottom line of the company, and keep them there if they're a top producer, because finding top talent is very hard to do, especially in today's market. So this is Big Game Hunters. Why should we hire you? Sales edition. Landon, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We're going on MagnaSearchGroup.tv. Hashtag MagnaOnAir. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. We're on Instagram. It's blowing up, and we're feeling great.
Google Plus? Are we on Google Plus?
We're going to be soon. Big Game Hunters.
Click, click, boom.
See you next week.